Nobody needs to twist my arm. Hey, want to go to Hawaii? Are we ready? Yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to TechZulu Live from Pubcon in Vegas. I am here with the one and only Brett Tabke, who organized this entire thing. How are you still awake?
That's about right. Well, doing good. You know, we stay right next door at the hotel, so it gives us a lot of time just to walk out and go to sleep. So, and I don't do the nightlife like I used to. So.
I know, we didn't see you. We were really looking for you everywhere.
Well, last night I was actually out. It was our party, so I was definitely there. But I was still in bed by 11. So.
We were just being social butterflies.
It's true. It's Vegas. It's hard not to be. So.
Well, speaking of, how long have we been in Vegas for the show? It's been a number of years now.
Yeah, this is number 8 for us out here in Vegas. So we sure enjoy it. Great destination, you know. It's a hard pull getting people to come to Vegas.
Oh, I know. People just can't stand coming to Las Vegas. So 8 years already. Looking back to those first few years to now, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen? I know that's a massive question, but what are some of those key pivotal changes that you've seen in the SEO, just search space?
Right. In SEO and search, probably the dominance of Google. You know, 8 years ago we had 4 exhibitors on the floor, all major. You know, we had GoTo, we had Yahoo, we had Google, we had Microsoft, had Inktomi. Now it's basically Google and Bing, and that's it. So the consolidation in the industry is the single biggest change. Mm-hmm. Probably in conferences related to searches, the biggest one would be social media has really taken over. You know, what Twitter does for conferences and real-time events is just amazing. You know, everybody's so connected constantly all the time. So.
What sort of discussions are you hearing here at your show about social, particularly because it's grown so much? Who owns social? Are people looking to do more of a holistic approach to social? Where do all the pieces fit in?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing people are wrestling with. Is there's so many opportunities for outlet content, contacts. You know, you got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. There's just so many places they have to play now, and they're trying to figure out how do they make all of these parts fit together without costing them 40 hours a week and having a single person dedicated to it or a single person dedicated to this. So that's the biggest thing in social right now is how can we make it work? But they know there's traffic there. So
I've also heard a lot of talk about mobile so far here at the show and the influence of mobile on search, and then also this notion of are Apple and Google going to go head to head? What are your thoughts with that?
Well, you know, we kind of needed Google to save us from Microsoft, and then we needed Apple to save us from Microsoft, and now Microsoft is the one saving us from Google. So it's like this vicious circle. I don't know. When you think competitively in the mobile space, it's so diverse right now. We're still early on. There's going to be a shakeout. Obviously, right now it's breaking down to Apple and Google, but Microsoft is getting their game on with Nokia. And Nokia is so big in Europe that when Microsoft does put out some fresh phones, some fresh operating system, they're going to have an impact over there. So I wouldn't count out Microsoft just yet. But mobile is definitely a wave of the future. And one of the undertows of the conference, people also trying to understand how they make all these different websites. We got to have a website template for desktop, then we got to have one for the smaller tablet, then we got to have a third one for mobile, and we got to make all this work perfectly, and then it's got to update daily, and we got to have all this fresh content that Google just loves. So people are kind of overwhelmed right now with where it's going. So everybody's kind of biding their time, trying to figure out what is going to be big, what do we need to throw our energy into next.
And if that wasn't complicated enough, then we have all of these changes happening with Google, and everyone's scrambling to figure out what all of that means. Do you think the changes are good or bad?
Well, they're good in the sense that everybody is finally figuring out that they're only going to be able to play content. You know, put out good content and come up with great sources of backlinks, great sources of traffic from alternative places such as social, even mobile, things like voice search now defaulting back to finding sites when they fall through. So everybody's kind of biding their time, trying to figure out where they're going to put their energies into.
So all of that gets figured out here at Pubcon, and then the rest of the world will hear the answers, usually.
We don't figure it out. We do make a lot of recommendations. Speakers give strong hints to where it's going. You know, if you were around here 5 years ago when we had our first social media sessions, people were, why do you have a social media session? And I didn't quite understand it, but at the time we had a session going on, PPC players from Google, Yahoo, GoTo, all the big PPC players were in a room, I walked in and there were about 30 people in the audience. I mean, we're talking leading edge scientists from Google, Microsoft, Yahoo. And you step next door and I had 3 teenagers talking on social media. And I walked in the room and there were 400 people in the room. And I went, this is clearly going to be a wave of the future. So we start way ahead of the curve and try and advance with where it's going. So.
Based on what you're seeing so far with this show, what do you think you might be adding for the next show?
Well, this show we added a whole bunch of local targeting. Everybody loves local SEO right now because it's half the competition, twice the reward if they have anything local at all. The other big thing we saw this time was the in-house. So with a bad economy, a lot of these people cut their agency budgets, pulled all this SEO back in-house, and now they'll give it to the junior marketing manager and say, hey, go to Pubcon and learn SEO, and so they'll send somebody. So we have this huge growth in in-house SEO. So that's a continuing big trend, and so is local as a big trend. Next, people are really trying to understand ROI from social media. Everybody's trying to measure it, if I'm going to spend $100,000 on a Twitter campaign, it's got to show me ROI. And people are trying to understand how they can measure the ROI on Facebook and Twitter and all these social programs.
And that's been a conundrum in the social space in general since it began. I saw that Raven is doing something new in terms of real-time monitoring as well.
Right. They do a great job at monitoring stuff. Great tool. We use it ourselves internally with a couple others. So.
Wonderful. Well, how many attendees roughly have you expected for this show?
2150 is what we have signed up, and then there's a good walk-up crowd as well. Excuse me. It's about 10% higher than last year. So, and we have more full paid attendees, so more people are coming to learn more this year. So, everybody's plugged in.
Yeah. So. And you even had Matt Cutts talking this morning. Yeah. Anything particularly that you want to share from that?
Matt brought his boss for the first time, Amit Singhal, and I don't know who was watching who in this thing. We'll find out next year if we never have Google back again. but it was interesting. It's always interesting having Matt around. He's such a good friend of the community. It's always good to have him out.
Yeah. You've got some really high-level names that are here, so it's very much appreciated. So if people want to follow what's going on, can they follow Pubcon on Twitter?
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. We generally don't push a lot of stuff on Twitter. We let our attendees talk mostly about the content that's in the sessions, and they're doing a great deal running through it.
Hashtag Pubcon?
Yep, hashtag Pubcon and pubcon.com.
Great. Well, I won't take any more of your time. I know that you're a busy guy. I don't know. We need to ask Efren if we're going to Hawaii.
That will be in February. 13th, 14th, 15th is our next show. So.
That's TechZulu's 4th birthday, and it's over Valentine's Day, so we could show TechZulu the love and be in Hawaii.
There you go. You're always welcome. We got a booth space for you. So.
You heard that here first with Brett Tabke with Pubcon. This is why there's so much love. Well, thank you, Brett. Appreciate it, and see you in February.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming out again. It's nice. So we were disappointed.